And welcome back everyone to Night Some Developments, and this is actually part 4 of my 2025 FPS tutorial series. And as you guys probably remember from the last 3 parts, we ended up with 2 view models, a simple switch weapon system, and a aim down sight system. And in this tutorial, we're going to work on weapon sway. As you can see, when I walk, there's a certain sway amount on the gun, and then if I sprint, that amount increases, as well as there is counter sway for when you move your camera. As you can see, the gun will sway just to make it look more real, looks more alive. You don't want just to have a static view model which looks weird. And also as a bonus, you guys are getting a sprint system, so your character can now sprint. So super easy and quick tutorial, and it was inspired by Xeradev, so go ahead and subscribe to his YouTube channel as well. And then let's get into the video. Okay, so to add weapon sway, we're going to do it through code in my videos. Some people like to do it through animations, but I think that idea sucks because having to animate every single view model for walking, sprinting, jumping, turning, it just takes too long and it's unreliable. Plus, having to run like 3 animations at once is a really bad idea, especially for like mobile players, because it's just not gonna work. It's gonna glitch and suck. So we're going to do it through code. Lucky for you, I already did all of the code. So all you're really going to have to do is just copy and paste. And then just maybe type in like the name of the gun or the value that you want. Super simple. And then this system has 2 main parts to it. They're one code, but there's 2 main working parts. One is you're going to be shaking the head or the camera up and down when the person walks. And then that second part is actually going to be the view model, which is like the pistol or the rifle, having to actually shake side to side, up and down when you walk, run. So that's basically something I'm going to get into later in the video, and this should be a really quick one, maybe like 10 minutes max, since it's just pasting code. Now, in order to start, you're going to go ahead and just go down to where you see starter player, and then you see starter character script, click the little plus sign, click local script, and then just rename it character. Make sure you spell it exactly how I did it here. If you make spelling mistakes, your code will be incompatible. Now clear it out. And now in the description below this video, you should see a Discord code to this script, which should take you to this page here. If you're already in my Discord, it's under FPS 2025 video 4. And then you should see 2 codes. And this is just the fail check file. I'll explain how it works later. I will also leave a link for the Google Doc with this same code, but I would not recommend using it since you'll have like extra spaces and then it's pretty easy to mess up. So literally, I would recommend doing this. If you really can't, use the docs, but I wouldn't recommend it. Now, for the character that we just created, the character script, you're going to go ahead and find where you see character.lua, this one, not this one, this one versus character. Go expand or like view the whole thing here. Make sure you go from top to bottom and all the way to the right. Make sure you don't miss a single line. If you miss one line, it just will not work. So make sure you copied the whole thing and then go back to your game and just paste it in. And then I'll quickly explain everything here because it's important. So basically what we have here is just simple user input service function, which will literally just take the values of the humanoid, which is like health, walking, speed, whatever, and then edit it. And then user input is just you clicking the keyboard. Basically what we have here is when you input the left shift, so when you're holding left shift and walking, so you're holding shift to run, your run speed or sprint speed will be 30. You could change this to literally whatever you want. It could be 20, 100. Basically, this is just how fast your character runs. The higher the number, then faster. And this one is when input ended. So when the left shift is not pressed, so you're just walking, your speed will be 17. Now, very important, if you miss this part, it will not work. Go to starter player right here, this file, and go down right here, and then you might have to expand. You should see character walk speed value. This is whatever was set like by the game itself. Right here, make sure this number here yours probably wouldn't at the beginning. Make sure this number here is your walk speed. Make sure it matches this bottom number here. So if you wanted your walking speed to be 15, you would change this to number 15. Make sure this and this bottom one match. And I actually left some reminders up here for you so you don't forget. Now you're going to check this out. Basically, this is just render step. This is going to be the amount of sway for walking and running. You don't really have to edit this, but this is just basically the values of how much. So basically, when you're walking 17, this is how much it will shake, and then when you're sprinting, it's going to be a little higher. So you could edit these numbers to fit whatever you like to do, but this is what I recommend. And then once again, this is the reminder for this box here to match. Now, for the second script, again, you're going to go out, and you can actually collapse this one. This is, like you probably remember from my last video, there's only two boxes that you have to just edit in. Basically, also you see this little thing here? The lines are long, so make sure you copy all of them. And as you can see, this first one says 12. So what you're gonna do is, you're gonna take this, copy the whole thing, make sure you get all of it. Copy it, just the top, so from marker line to marker line. Go back to your game, and now you're gonna open the framework client. This is the one that's under starter player scripts, this one, framework client. And then you remember it's at 12. If yours is slightly off, it's not that like crazy because maybe you didn't delete the marker lines last time or something. Just make sure you paste these after the is aiming false. So after this value, what you're gonna do is you're gonna click on it, click enter, and then you're just gonna paste it at line 12 or right after false. And then what I also want you to do is delete the marker lines. So delete this one, and then delete this one. And also you see how there's like two empty lines. Just delete one of them so that it's like after false and there's a space. These are connected, there's a space. So that's for the first half, and then you're gonna go to the second half, which is just again from marker line to marker line. And then you see this one says 51, and I know it's not perfect, but it's just kind of like a general idea. Also, make sure you actually copy the whole thing from top to bottom, all of it. If you miss something, it just will not work. So copy that, right? Go back to your game, scroll to where you see 51, which is here. And if yours doesn't match perfectly, it's not that important. Just make sure that you're actually at run service render step connect, and then you see that this function ends right here. So you see how like render step and then it ends here. This is really tricky, so important. Again, putting this big sign right here, read it, important. Take this render step, right? And then copy the whole thing until the end, right? So like 52 to 68, or yours should be somewhere close to that. So just copy that. I mean, no, don't copy it. Just select it, right? Select it. But you have this part copied. So what you're going to do is just paste it into this. So just click paste. And then you should see this huge chunk of code just pop up. And then I would actually recommend deleting this extra line you have up here. And then just clearing these like marker lines since you don't really need them anymore. Now the important part. As you can see, it says here, match walk speed. Why did I write this in? Make sure that in this chunk of code that you just threw in, make sure this value here, which says humanoid walk speed, the first one, matches your bottom walk speed here. So if you have it 17, match it to 17. And then this is the sprint speed, 30. Make sure it matches this 30 right here. So if those won't match, you have some issues. If you make them do match, you should be fine. And basically these are just the sway values for each one. So for walking, you're obviously using some math. So you have cosine and sine, and then you're moving it on the x-axis, y-axis, z-axis, and then you could edit these however you want to change just how much the weapon sways, but I would just recommend leaving it because you're probably not experienced enough to change it. So that's basically just um what's moving your view model around, right? And now that you're actually done with all of the code, good job, you finished. We're gonna test it, but before we do, I want you to pay attention to a couple of things. You're going to be looking at the output box just in case some kind of errors pop up, so make sure that's open. And also, if your script for some reason doesn't work during this next testing part, I want you to go back to Discord server and you see this fail check file I have here. What this is just the full script of the framework client, and I'm not putting it here just so that you copy the whole thing and then just paste it into your code and expect it to work, even though it will work as long as you're using the same guns as me and then all of the values are the same as my tutorial. But the reason I'm providing this for you guys is that if something doesn't work because of a spelling error or something's with the code not right, what I want you to do is this is what you're gonna do. You would just go here, you'd go to workspace, you'd click plus, you'd add a script, right? Or literally just open like two windows and just make sure everything here is spelled or like the lines match whatever your script is. But that's just for errors. So let's just quickly test, right? Click play, you start walking. As you can see, the gun is swaying. And then if I hold shift, you will sprint and swaying will increase. And then obviously first person, just zoom in and then there you go. It's swaying, you hold shift and the gun again sways. Also, let's say you aim and then you start dragging. As you can see, you see that little like counter sway, which is like all popular shooters do now. And the same thing here. If you sway it, your gun is not still, it's alive. It's going to move up, down. You see that? So wherever you move, your gun will just kind of sway around that. In the next tutorial, we will fix one little problem. Basically, right now the game allows you to aim and like run or walk. And that's not really good because it looks kind of, well, come on, that's weird. And we're going to fix that later on, but this is just the base system and it does work for both of your view models. So the same thing for your pistol. As long as you do the system once, it works for both of them. And then we also actually, I guess, added sprinting, so that's an extra. And then in the next tutorial, we're probably going to go over, we're going to start the shooting system, as you guys probably want at last, right? So what I'm probably thinking we're going to do is we're going to add like the base of the shooting system. So like on click, your gun will play the animation, it will play the sound. The only thing that we probably won't have by next time is damage. I might do it if I have time, but it's just a lot of work to squeeze everything into one video. So we'll see about that. And then we might add a simple GUI. But yeah, you finished the Sway tutorial. This was a quick one since it's mostly just all code. If you did like this video, please like and subscribe. Comment down below any ideas or suggestions. Yeah, hope you enjoyed it and see you in the next one.